a specific example of how Stan showed love to you?
Well, one time he took the band, when he got in a really, really heavenly mood, which he did sometimes, he'd take the whole band out to dinner, take the whole band out to see a Michael Douglas movie. It was really, just he would be that way sometimes. But as you know, Jimmy Rolls has this picture, a drawing, that I used to see in Bradley's and the club in New York.
Sure.
And it's underneath it says, it's got a guy who's got about 20 different heads, and underneath it says, a nice bunch of guys.
Right. Well, but the original line was that he was a bunch of nice guys. And then it got flipped around to he was a nice bunch of guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you know why people that was such a common phrase to refer to Stan? Can you?
Because he was like that.
Like
but
what?
I didn't like that. You'd be one way happy, another time different moods.
How hard? Yeah. So I mean, but would he take it out on you?
Well, he wouldn't take anything out on me. You know how I was.
I'm saying no, but I know. You know what I
had to think of what might happen on the bandstand the next day.
Well, this is compelling.
No, but you could. Billy Hart's a good one to talk with.
I already did. I talked to 40 people so far, Joanne. It's important for you to give some specifics because I know that people like Dizzy and people like that wouldn't take Stan's shit. All right, and they push back on him. So if you could actually talk about how
No, I didn't do anything. It's just like I know that. I just remember the one time that it almost happened. We were in New Orleans, I think, playing at this club, and I can't remember the specifics, but he did something that was not balanced. I don't know if it was about somebody in the band. It wasn't about Billy or me, I know that. But he did something, and we were about ready to play Lush Life. So on Lush Life, we did like this intro behind him, and then he played it. And so on the intro, I just started playing things that would sound really good with the sound of the chord, but it also sounded like on the verge of being Cecil Taylor. And he immediately stopped what he had started. So it then it went ahead and just played the regular stuff behind him.
Okay, so let's go back.
But I didn't.
Hold on. You said No, I don't know. So you're trying to say that you were offended by his behavior, and therefore you were going to.
No, I don't feel offended is the wrong word. It just feels like something's not balanced.
Sure.
If you're a juggler and something goes up in the air and you're not going to catch it, you change your movement there. And so it just felt like that. So it felt like the only way to balance it out was playing the stuff behind him that would sound good, but he would recognize immediately that something needed to go back in balance. And that's what happened.
I dig. That is heady stuff. You're telling me that only happened.
Well, I didn't think about it. It just happened.
Sure.
Afterwards, I could think about it like now.
Right, but you recognize, you didn't think, but you felt that it was out of balance at that time. Is that right?
I knew it was. Yeah, I knew it was.
Did you feel like Stan was a cat that it was hard to? I mean, did you really communicate with him verbally a lot, or was it mainly through?
Well, no, he never talked that much. He let us do what we wanted in the band. The only thing he ever told us is, don't take more choruses than I take, and preferably one chorus less. That's the only thing he ever said to me. I didn't hear him. I don't know what he said to other people.
Right.
I know one time he didn't like the bass player. He went over and unplugged the amp. That would be something that I would do if I.
Believe me, I can't
really
wait to hang with you. I mean, you are relentless. We got a game.
Well, I did do this. There was one time in Los Angeles, It was my trio. I forget who I think it was Clint Houston. Once again, I don't like to name the people because I don't think that they would appreciate that or their friends would. But it was a drummer, well known in the L.A. area, and he came in the first night. He played great. It was wonderful. And then he brought his girlfriend in for the weekend. And he got up, and it was supposed to be his time to take a drum solo. And he got up on the microphone and started talking. And when I heard the sound of a human voice in what this musical maze of beauty that we were playing, it came in, I just very evenly got off the bandstand and went to the bartender and said, "Would you please take the drums off the bandstand?"
Wow.
That was that.
But he still had the microphone to talk, right? He was still talking.
No, he pretty much stopped. He pretty much stopped, and I had him I just went back and continued playing with bass.
We have a game on this program called Name That Tune. Joanne, I want you to just settle in and don't think, but just listen and feel, and then
I don't know names of tunes.
Well, we'll come back and just enjoy this, and we'll come. Abbott Taylor Jewelers, the Jewish Federation of Southern Arizona, the Jewish Community Center of Southern Arizona, Craig Pretzinger Agency of Allstate Insurance, and the Stereo Hospital, and we thank them for their support. All right, Mrs. Brackeen, what do you got for us?
What am I supposed to have?
I'd like you to try to identify that tune.
Oh, I don't know what the tune is.
Do you know who was playing piano?
No.
That was
Joanne.
Joanne.
But I know how they studied, and I did wonder at one point they had a lot of harmonic things that they did that could have opened up some things that they would have played in the right hand, but they didn't. They had already learned these things in the right hand. I would say the person probably likes Tommy Flanagan. They probably like Chick Corea. I heard some things from there, but it sounded like the right hand had learned things before the left hand. So then, but the chords were a little bit more modern than some of the concepts that usually go with those chords in the right hand.
You are a trip. I mean, that's you.
Oh, okay.
1977 Montmartre, Volume 1.
Okay. We had to play that way.
What do you mean? What do you mean? That was Lady Sings the Blues, that version of that tune. What do you mean?
Yeah, but it must have been with Stan.
That's right. You were with Stan?
Yeah, because I wouldn't have played that tune. Yeah.
Can you explain?
So there you have it. There was somewhat of confinement on a ballad, but there wasn't on other tunes. What we did in that band was what I did was record every night, and then the band would, at least Billy and sometimes Clint, would get together and listen to the whole thing. So we could figure out what we could do the next night that would work. In other words, how much music could we play and still make Stan sound the way he wanted to sound, but still play what we might want to play?
I dig. So you still wanted to make sure your own individual voice got out there.
Well, as much as we could, but still, it's his band, So that's the way we looked at it.
If one of your Korean students or Chinese or Spanish or Jake Feinberg walked into your classroom at Berkeley and said, I'm learning about this horn player Stan Getz. Can you talk looking back without thinking too hard? Why is Stan Getz still relevant to the lexicon of music today?
Just the way, I think, the sound and the way he played, like I just mentioned to you before, how he talked like if you were who's one of the incredible movie stars that, in other words, he had an elegance and a talent. It was like a genius. So you actually, if you played with him, you had to play with him as though he was a singer.
I'm not a musician. Can you explain how you do that?
Well, you listen to every single thing that he does, and the things that you play chord-wise behind him every note has to agree with what you know his sound is and what he's going to play, and not just the sound but the feeling.
It's fascinating. Do you feel like you kind of raised yourself musically that way? I mean, Stan was not he didn't. I mean, he was on the road with.
No, I never did that before or after. I mean, with that band was that band. But when you learn how to do that, it definitely, it's a good thing to learn.
What was you went on? Had you already been a leader before you joined Stan's group?
Well, like I said, I had a little trio. I mean, we weren't working that much. I worked a lot in duets with Clint Houston, who was probably the bassist. I don't know if he did the Montreux there.
Montmartre, in France. Yes.
Oh, Montreux.
That was Billy, Clint. Rest in peace.
Yeah, that was Clint. Yeah.
And you and.
Okay, so Clint and I had worked a lot together. Billy was on some of my record dates before. No, that wasn't before Stan.
It was right around this time. Those records on Choice are burning hot.
Mm-hmm. But
burning.
I think it was 1975 the one mine.
Well, my question about is that what did you take away from a leadership point of view, or what did you learn most from being with Stan?
Just a lot of music. I mean, there was no room for not being right there at every instant when you were playing.
Say that again?
Well, there was no room for you not being right there in the instant by instant, being right there. Not physically, your awareness when you were playing on a bandstand.
God, that is fascinating stuff. No, you're really blowing my mind right now. What were you?
I mean,
yeah.
He didn't really, he really didn't need us as a band to back him up, but he chose to just go ahead and move with what was going on in the music world. So he picked that band.
Did he choose a lot of your originals to play on the bandstand?
No, but we could play them. He was like the singer. The band comes on first and plays, and then he comes on. So sometimes that tune that we played before he came on, or a tune or two, sometimes one of those would be an original.
So you guys would actually open as a trio for him sometimes?
Yes, almost every night.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, he conducted it like a singer as well as, the way he played sounded like a singer.